Welcome to the Colors Delight for Life. It's about life, where we share our experience, strength, and hope to help others so they have a better understanding. Thank you. Hi, this is Andrea. It's about life, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with Linda, our guest on this podcast. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Linda, and get in 1 to 2 minutes, describe where you're at right now. And then we'll go launching into the things you've overcome, gotten through, and triumphed over. So go for it.
Great. Thank you for having me, Andrea. I am a life acceptance coach now. I'm in my 50s. I am also a meditation coach. So these things have come later in life for me. I have gotten through generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, many health issues, and it's just been a slow climb, but it kind of came to a pinnacle when I hit about 50. So, and I started learning some stuff.
I'm 56 right now, so I don't know how old you are, but it sounds like you're in my age bracket.
Yeah, I'm 55. Yep.
1 year behind me. That's perfect. So you get the point of where we're at. So
Yep.
we're the same generation. So,
Yes.
And you look good.
Oh, well, thank you. You too.
Oh, thank you. I don't wear no makeup or anything. So what you see is what you get.
Oh my gosh, that's a totally new thing for me too lately. I'm like, I understand that. I went through many of years without the makeup, but.
Right. So if you're thinking back to your childhood, what are some of the things you overcome, maybe with your family, yourself, and some challenges you had? And if you could share with our audience and go in depth, that would be appreciated, because that helps our audience understand you better.
Well, I grew up outside, about an hour outside of Philadelphia, a really nice neighborhood. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My parents both worked in order to give us everything that we had. And my perception of life, and I say perception because I've learned that everybody takes things in a different way, but I felt fearful and lonely, and I felt like something was missing. And I think it was mostly because I felt like I was raised by my older sister. She's 2 years older than me. So both of our perceptions were of little kids, right? So something I kind of discovered, I could never figure out where the fear came from, because I feel like it had been there for a long time. So when I was around 50, I went to a holistic therapist, and we really kind of dug in deep, and we came down to, I call it my thermos story, because it was my first day of kindergarten. They were calling everybody up to the front of the room, and when I was walking up, my lunchbox fell and my thermos broke. And back then, the insides of thermoses were glass. So went to lunch, drank the milk, not all of it, but when I got home, my grandmother lived with us also. And my grandmother and my mother saw the thermos, and there was a little hysteria involved. So I came home like thrilled that I had gone out into the world by myself. I had a good day. I thought everything was fabulous. And the way they reacted sent me into this fearful, just terrified state and it kind of, from then on, it was everything out there was scary. And I had failed when I had gone out by myself. So I kind of went inward, not only because of the thermos story, but also because I have red hair, obviously, and I was the only redhead in school. So I kind of was always teased, and I was picked out of the crowd, like, oh, the redhead. And people used to come up to me and want to, like, oh, you have such pretty hair, and touch your hair. And it really kind of made me go in and not want to stick out. So it made me kind of socially awkward, because I just so my social anxiety really kicked in. So that was kind of the basis of where I came from.
Thinking back for maybe 10 years into your teenage years, why don't you talk about that and what that was like?
I had a few good friends when I was a teenager, but I don't think any of them really knew the extent of my anxiety. I made a lot of excuses. I don't feel good. I have this excuse. I have to do this. My parents won't let me. So it was, I think there were a lot of people that were turned away from that too. I think I could have had more friends had the anxiety and the panic and my phobias got even worse then. And that's also when my physical manifestations started. So I started having stomach aches a lot and headaches. And then there was also, and the thing about it is, I think even in my teenage years, there was still a bullying aspect about standing out and being different than other people. That's also when traveling started becoming difficult for me, because I just remember I never pinpointed what it was. Let's put it that way. We'd go away on vacation, and then I just remember while I was there, after a couple of days, I was like, okay, I just want to go home. I'm done. I felt uncomfortable. I wasn't sure what it was. That's when things really started to, amp up for me.
What do you mean by amp up?
I really started feeling fearful. But I thought, everybody must feel this. It was like I just started staying home more and more, making more and more excuses to not go out. I didn't know what it was.
Looking back on your teenage years, how was your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health? Could you expand on that, please?
It was emotionally, physically, everything was kind of a mess. I was getting by. I was going to school. I was doing everything I needed to do. Spiritually, there wasn't much there. I was brought up in the Catholic Church, but it was really that was also something that I had difficulty with, because it was a new place, a new thing, so it almost felt like, and then when we had to go into church and even walking in, I remember just being fearful. So it was another thing that was kind of forced upon me, and it wasn't something I wanted. So, I mean, at this point in life, totally things have changed for me. But back then, it was seen as something else that I was like, oh no, you're making me do this.
Thinking back to, from a teenager to your early 20s, can you tell the folks about that?
I was too afraid to go to college. So I started working. I think I started working in retail. So that was, social anxiety was definitely in there for me. I never felt confident to go into something that I really wanted to go into. I kind of stayed where there were safe jobs, things I felt comfortable with. So I was in retail, and then I went into secretarial work. administrative assistant work. I was getting by, but it was also difficult because all of those things were, all of my anxieties and everything were coming. And then depression started coming in because I was like, I have to work, I have to do something. And I didn't know how to get rid of it. It didn't even come into my mind to go to a therapist or anything. In my 20s, I moved out of my parents' house. That's when other physical things started coming up, as far as I started getting really bad allergies. I got an ulcer. And then when I was about 25, I met my first husband. And I married him when I was 26. And I didn't, not that I didn't love him. He's a great guy. I'm still friends with him and everything, but I married him for the wrong reasons. I married him because I needed safety and he made me feel safe. So I kind of jumped into that. So during my 20s, after a couple of years of being married with him, I started feeling very trapped. And so I was in between this, I feel trapped, but I want to feel secure. That's when I started getting agoraphobic. And so going to work was really hard because I was panicking every time I was going out of the house. Then at that point, it came to a pinnacle just because I didn't know what to do anymore. And I became suicidal. And it's one time that my fears actually and my phobias actually served me, because I was too afraid to do anything about it. So I finally contacted a therapist, and I got help right away, and I got on medication. And that's when I also discovered meditation, and meditation really kind of saved me for the first couple of years that I was going through all of this. I learned transcendental meditation at the time. So that really helped me get through it. Eventually, I did, after we were married for 7 years, I did get divorced.
Did you get remarried again?
Yes, I am married now. Yes.
Traveling along a little future in your life to maybe your latter part of your 40s to your, mid 35 or up to 40. Tell me, what are some of the things you've overcome there, or challenges you met, or things that, would be of significance for the audience to hear so they could understand you. And if you could understand those things that I know may sound like they make you uncomfortable, but they're definitely a benefit to our audience.
Sure. After I got divorced, I was in and out of therapy off and on. It was helpful getting to know what anxiety was, what panic was, what, like putting a label to everything. But I don't feel like I ever learned acceptance for myself, acceptance about life and love and just all of that. It was just, I was coping at the time. I did discover more things that helped me. Unfortunately, it was through a relationship that I had that was, it was really kind of mentally abusive.
And toxic. Would you say it was toxic?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that was another one of those. I mean, my first marriage wasn't toxic, but this relationship, I think I jumped into it because, it was very like, oh, I want you to be my everything. And I was like, oh, there's another safety thing. And that unfortunately, it was like one of those situations when you come home and you never know who you're going to get, what that person's going to be like that day. And so my stress level was so high every day. It was probably about, I think I was with him for about 2 years. That is where my discovery of music came from to help with healing. But through that, just everything, my GI issues became worse. My allergies got worse. I had gynecological issues. I was anemic. And then I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. So there was a lot going on there. And I finally decided enough was enough. So I left that relationship, just discovering so much more about what I didn't want, And then in my early 40s, around 40, 42, I think it was, I'm trying to remember the timeline. That is when I met my current husband, Jim. And he was very stable, and it was a totally different experience. I kind of learned like new things, new ways of going about things, because I was seeing things differently. His family was totally different than anything I had ever experienced. So it was really good in the beginning, but after a while, he started noticing things like the traveling thing. I didn't want to travel much. I didn't want to go out to eat much. But I really wanted to make it work. I mean, at this point, we weren't married yet. I really started thinking about how I was going to move forward. And that's when I started really getting into therapy.
Sounds like you found therapy a big help.
Yeah. I mean, this time though, since I was really into meditation and holistic ways of going about doing things, yoga and different kind of modalities like that, I really looked for a different kind of therapist. So that's when I found this holistic therapist. And she is the one who really kind of made me come to the realization that my thoughts aren't who I am. That my brain is just firing off thought after thought, minute after minute, and I don't have to listen to it all. I mean, this is when I was around 49, 50 years old. I mean, that's like a big thing when you finally come to the point where you're like, oh, I don't have to listen to everything that's coming into my head, coming out of my head. So, yeah, that was a big revelation for me.
It sounds like you realized that your self-talk was holding you back.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and that's, 40 something years of me listening to that you're not good enough. You can't do that. You can't go there. Just be small. Don't be quiet. Don't, that was part of the social anxiety, was people won't want to listen to me. I should be quiet. So it was just so interesting to then go about my days not listening or talking back to that self-talk. I mean, it changed everything. And so I'm so thankful to that therapist who finally, got something into my head, like something good into my head. And she's actually
your head and kind of pour it all in.
Right, exactly. It was like, whoa. And she's the one who encouraged me. I started talking about getting my certification to teach meditation, to teach mindfulness meditation. What I had learned originally it was transcendental meditation, but I wanted to learn mindfulness meditation because I felt that was a really helpful modality for people. And so I did get my certification during that time. And then towards the end of seeing her, my therapist, I started thinking that I might want to be a therapist. I kind of went through, one of my best friends was a therapist, and she kind of told me what it was like and what it went through. And it sounded, although it was, amazing to help people, it also seemed like there was a lot more to it that I didn't know if I was in a place yet to go into therapy. So she suggested coaching, and I looked into it, and I thought it was so forward thinking. It was so, like, not that you discount, any past emotions or anything like that, but I really liked the whole, container of coaching. So that's when I started interviewing different coaching schools. That's when I came to the Holistic Coaching Training Institute, and I decided to sign up there. I really liked their theory about everything and their perspective, and I like Beverly Sartain is the one who owns it, and she has a spiritual psychology background, which I really loved. And so that's where I am now. I'm finishing up. I'm supposed to get my certification December, but I have started my coaching, and it's just been amazing.
Yeah, if you could provide 3 takeaways for your audience, what would those be?
Gosh, listen to your intuition, because my whole life I felt like something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was. Obviously, since I call myself a life acceptance coach, accept things, accept the people in your life, accept yourself, accept where you are, because life ebbs and flows. If you see something as, a good thing, take notice of it and be grateful for it. If you see something as a negative, then know that it will pass. So, that really has helped me. Lastly, find what makes you happy. What makes you happy? Meditation makes me happy. Music makes me happy. Photography makes me happy. My family makes me happy. Give yourself reminders to spend time doing those things that make you happy every day. I have reminders on my phone, like, hey, remember to journal something that makes you happy, or remember to dance, remember to listen to music. I think I need reminders to do it. And, people think these things are automatic, but sometimes you got to put it in front of your face, So those are my things that I really like to do. And I am incorporating music and art therapy into my coaching and meditation. I'm actually learning right now how to make my own guided meditations, because I want to teach beginners, those people who say, I can't meditate, I can't do that. Those are the ones I want to bring in and teach, and so they could see the benefits of it.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about your business in 2 to 3 minutes.
I am on Facebook and Instagram right now. I am under Linda Leva, Life Acceptance Coach. And I am just really starting to get my niche. Obviously, I want to serve people with anxiety, people with social anxiety, and phobias. But really, I'm open to anybody that my coaching aligns with. If they're into something just a little bit different, like I said, I actually coached with someone who put a little guided imagery in the middle of our coaching session because I was at a stuck spot. And so we just closed the eyes and kind of like went to a good place for a couple minutes. That is what I'm doing in my coaching. And I'm going to bring in the art therapy and the music therapy. There are certain things about that I think open people up. And I really hope it resonates with a lot of people and they just come on in, and I'm just here to help, to guide people. And that's what I really want to do.
Thank you for coming to Claire's Delight for Life. It's about life. I hope you enjoyed our podcast as much as I did, and I hope you have a great day. I'd love to let you know about a new book coming out, and it's a great help for those who, and including you, to deal with life. It's called Overcoming Depression, Anxiety, PTSD, and Stress. Who couldn't use a book like this? And it's a great program. And the book and audio are going to be made available on Audible and Amazon. We also have we are on all the social platforms, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest, and TikTok, and just about anything else you can think of. With all that being said, we also have some other wonderful books that you can get on Amazon and Audible and on our website too, which is declaresdelightforlife.com. Again, that's declaresdelightforlife.com. And those books are Clutter to Declutter. And another one is 28 Days to Declutter Your Mind. The other one is Secrets to Declutter Your Mind Now. These were written with lots of love and experience, these books, to really help you on your journey in life, because I know, having gone through so much in my life, these are written from the heart to see that you too can succeed despite your situations. And I just want you guys to know that we do have a 180-day guarantee that if any of these don't work for you, you can just email us or at support@declaresdelightforlife.com, and we will refund your money with no questions asked, because we believe that a no questions asked guarantee is the best way to have a great relationship with you. And with that said, you know what? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Declares Delight for Life. It's about life, sharing your experience, strength, and hope.